They laughed when his tray flipped. They laughed when the nutrient broth splashed across the floor, soaking the human cadet's uniform. They laughed as the smell of scorched protein filled the academy mess hall, and every single eye turned to see a lone Earthborn standing there, his fists clenched, his head bowed. To the Jari, the Krell, and the tall-boned Vesk, humans were just small, soft, barely tolerated guests. This was the Interstellar Defense Academy, and none of them expected a human to last a semester. The academy itself orbited a gas giant the color of rust. Its halls were carved from alloy older than Earth's industrial age. Its banners etched with victories won long before humans ever learned to throw metal into orbit. Cadet Elias Ward knew all this as he knelt to gather the pieces of his broken lunch tray. His jaw was tight, his breathing slow and measured. Behind him, the alien table hissed and clicked in satisfaction. One of them even ground a talon into the spilled food, just to make the insult unmistakable. Ward was a scholarship cadet. He was one of only 12 humans admitted as a political experiment after humanity's first contact with the galactic community. He was under constant observation, warned again and again that humanity's future among the stars depended on restraint, on proving they could follow rules written by species that were stronger, faster, and far less forgiving. He'd heard the whispers since day one. Humans were good in simulations, but brittle in reality. Their muscles tore too easily. Their emotions made them unstable. He had swallowed it all. The shoves in the corridor, the equipment accidents that were anything but, the laughter during zero-G drills when his hands bled from gripping tools designed for claws, not fingers. The 5 aliens who had knocked his lunch away today were upper-year cadets from proud warrior cultures. Their instructors were decorated veterans. Their own records were spotless, despite a long history of what was dismissed as roughhousing. As Ward stood up, broth dripping from his sleeves, the mess hall fell quiet. Not because anyone feared him, but because everyone expected him to do nothing. They expected him to absorb the humiliation, just like every human before him had. But then he turned. He looked straight at them, his eyes level, and his voice was low as he asked for a simple apology. Just a chance to walk away. The answer came as a hard shove, sending him crashing into a table with enough force to crack its composite plating. A chorus of laughter echoed off the curved walls, and that's when the stakes shifted. It wasn't some dramatic announcement. It was in the subtle way Ward's posture changed. His shoulders settled and his hands, once clenched in anger, unclenched and relaxed. Years of military conditioning, honed back on Earth, snapped into place as he made a decision he had avoided since the day he arrived. He had been trained by instructors who understood what it meant to be physically outmatched. They taught that humans survived not by brute strength, but by timing, by leverage, and by an intimate understanding of violence they prayed they would never have to use. As the largest of the 5, confident in his mass and his natural armor, lunged at him, Ward didn't back away. He stepped inside the swing, using the alien's own momentum against him. He drove an elbow into a joint that wasn't supposed to bend that way. The sound cut through the silent mess hall like a gunshot. 10 seconds? That's all it took. It wasn't a blur of motion, not a chaotic frenzy. It was precise, terrifying efficiency. Ward moved from one attacker to the next, striking nerve clusters his instructors had spent years studying on alien cadavers. He targeted balance, respiration, blood flow. He never hit twice when once would do. His boots were planted, his breathing steady, while everyone else in the room froze in absolute disbelief. One went down choking, his secondary lungs spasming uncontrollably. Another collapsed screaming, as his knee dislocated in a way that defied anatomy. A third hit the wall and slid down, unconscious before he even reached the floor. The last 2 tried to retreat, fear finally piercing through their layers of arrogance. Ward let them. But then one made the mistake of turning back, his rage overriding his survival instinct. Ward ended it with a single controlled blow that dropped him cold. When the Academy security teams finally arrived, weapons raised, they found a surreal scene. 5 alien cadets bleeding, broken, alive but utterly shattered. And in the center of the mess hall stood one human, his hands open at his sides, his uniform ruined, calmly waiting. The investigation was immediate and brutal. Security cameras replayed the incident from every possible angle. Medical teams confirmed the prognosis for the 5 attackers. Intensive care units, weeks of regeneration therapy, and careers that were almost certainly over. The council chambers filled with angry demands for punishment, for expulsion, for definitive proof that admitting humans had been a terrible mistake. Ward sat alone during the entire proceedings, his expression unreadable as alien admirals and decorated generals argued over his fate. But then the footage reached a critical moment, the moment where he asked for an apology, the moment he was shoved, the moment where the rules had been broken first. A profound silence spread through the chamber like a hell breath. The turning point didn't come from a grand speech. It came from a quiet, simple statement from the Academy's human liaison. He calmly reminded the council that humans had signed the exact same conduct accords as everyone else. He pointed out that self-defense was a universal clause in those accords. And he suggested that perhaps the great human experiment had yielded data that none of them had expected. In the days that followed, the atmosphere in the Academy changed. Whispers replaced laughter. Instructors began quietly adjusting their lesson plans. And alien cadets who had once crowded hallways now instinctively gave humans space, their eyes wary, but also respectful. Ward was cleared of all wrongdoing. He was reassigned to a different cohort and ordered to attend counseling, which was standard procedure. But when he returned to his training, he did so under a new kind of scrutiny. It was a scrutiny that recognized something dangerous, something disciplined, hidden beneath the soft skin. The consequences of those 10 seconds rippled outward, subtle but undeniable. Reports reached homeworlds, and diplomatic councils quietly began revising their assumptions about this upstart species from Earth. Somewhere deep in the Academy archives, a file was updated. A simple note was added that would forever change how humanity was seen among the stars. It read, "Humans endure. They restrain. And when pushed past the point of restraint, they end fights quickly, cleanly, and without apology." Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more. We'll see you in the next one.